in Hammond and in Northwest Indiana as an example of what not to do. It is disgusting. And it is a representation of where we're at in this society. And it is the reason why we have to talk about whether you're going to bring the National Guard in. 58 people shot last weekend in Chicago. I'm 56 years old. You know how long they've been shooting people in Chicago? Longer than 56 years. You know what they're going to do for the next 56 years? Shoot each other. You have 100,000 gang members in the city of Chicago. So you sit here and see this fat ass Pritzker, who's a billionaire, and he wouldn't answer the question when he was walking with Marianne Ahern, and God bless her from Michigan City when she asked the question of this. If you're so sure of your city, why don't you have your friends take the L at 12 o'clock? Or take the red line? Okay? And the reason that they can't is because they don't know how to solve the issue. They don't know how to solve the issue because there's 100,000 gang members in the city of Chicago. Registered gang members.
Let me ask you this. I don't know the answer. I'll look it up. But how understaffed is the Chicago Police Department?
It's way understaffed.
Right.
They're down to but even when they're fully staffed, they're at 13,000. So they're at 13,000 and there's 100,000 gang members.
Okay. And so what's the long-term solution?
People don't want.
How many National Guard people are?
Well, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example.
Honestly,
you asked me a question. I'm going to answer it because this happened in East Chicago, on a smaller level.
Okay.
And it's real interesting with this sheriff's race because it involves the people that are running for sheriff. Okay. This happened in the south side of East Chicago, where I was born.
Is that Roxana?
No. Please don't ever say that again.
I'm sorry, I don't know the geography.
Someone said that the other day. Oh, this guy's from Roxana. I'm not from Roxana. I lived in Roxana from 95 to 99.
I hear Roxana.
I'm from
Roxana
the south
is the
side.
only specific part of. Yeah. There's the Roxana in the harbor, and then East Chicago. I don't know any other neighborhoods.
I love Roxana. I lived there for 5 years. I worked at Roxana Video for 6 years.
I just thought it was on the south side.
I have many, many friends. I am not from Roxana. Okay,
sorry.
The south side of East Chicago. Okay, is by Bishop Knoll. So on the East Chicago side, here's what happened. In 1992 and in 93, we were having our first child. I was born on 5007 Northcott. In 1980, my grandmother bought 5005 Northcott. So when Lisa and I were first together and we were having Jordan, we were living at 5005 Northcott in 1992 into 93. And the south side got worse than any other spot in East Chicago, which was it wasn't the case. South side was always really nice. Became a gang haven. They broke into our house 3 times. I went to the city to say they were selling drugs. They firebombed my car. 2 years later, my aunt, who was part of the group that was going against the gang members and drug addicts, drug dealers, they threw a Molotov cocktail through her front picture window. The person that was in charge of the FBI.
Really?
Listen, the
what
person
year
that was
this?
95.
Wow.
So the person that was in charge of maybe 94 because my dad was still living, the person that was in charge of the FBI, his name was Chuck Amdahl. He lived next door to us in Munster. So my dad knew East Chicago real well, knew Chuck Amdahl, said, can you look into this? He said, Tony, the people that I need to talk to over there are probably a part of it. Tell your sister-in-law to get her insurance money and move south. That's exactly what she did. My cousin went back the next day to get his stuff. The people next door were laughing at him and shot at him on Alcott Avenue. Okay? They controlled those streets. So in early 2000, give or take, Jason Gore, who's ATF, Gus Flores, who's the police chief of East Chicago, Mark Becker, who later became the police chief of East Chicago, who was with the FBI, all got together with a bunch of groups and said, we're going to clean up the South Side. They went door to door and grabbed those guys. Many of those guys, over 10, are in prison, still in prison. So here's the answer to what you asked me. And we don't have the stomach for it in this country. You go door to door and you grab 100,000 gang members and you say it's illegal to be a gang member because here's the deal. So here's the deal.
100,000 people.
Exactly.
Where are you going to put them?
We better figure it out because the alternative is 50 people getting shot and 8 people dying every weekend. So the people that live in the south side and the west side of Chicago are supposed to live like that the rest of their lives because we're not going to infringe on the benefits of 100,000 gang members? Because that's what you're saying if you're a Democrat right now. How dumb can you be? If I was Pritzker, you know what I'd say to Trump? I'll be there at 12 o'clock on Saturday in my jeans. I'd like to see you there as well. And then after you bring the National Guard, I'd put the National Guard on every single CTA bus stop and every single CTA train station there is, okay? And take control of those streets again. And then say we're going to the south side and the west side and we're going to clean things up. And you know who's going to applaud that? The people that live there. The people that can't sit out on their front porch or their kids can't go to the park.
I don't disagree. But, so they come in, they clean it up, and then what happens? Do they leave?
The question becomes the community.
That's the thing.
Yes, they do have to leave.
So what prevents it from just resetting and starting all over again?
It's the same thing that happens if you and your old lady got into it at your house. Now listen, if you and your old lady got into it at your house, it happens all the time. It's called domestic dispute. You call the police, right? The police comes in and they settle something. Once things are settled, it's up to the people to figure out that you don't do it again. You have to clean up your area, and then the people in that area have to control the streets. They're scared to call, okay? I don't know if you know this or not, but my daughter was shot by a gang member.
No,
okay? I understand. I've been there.
No.
And here's the deal. And when you say that, people say that you're going to go in and you're going to people are scared to talk to the police because you know what the gangs do to people who talk to the police? They will shoot you and your family. So you need to come in with an iron fist, and that's the only way you're going to stop. If you're all listen, I understand you're trampling on people's personal liberties. But it seems to be okay. We can trample on people's liberties when it comes to COVID. We can shut people's businesses down. We can tell. But when it comes time to stop having people shoot people, we can't stop on their personal liberties.
No, I think in a situation where there's clearly a gang and violence problem, especially in the south side of Chicago, I have no problem with them bringing the National Guard in. But what comes next, right? I mean, it sounds great. They're going to come in and clean it up.
That's step
one.
And
then they leave. And
you got to let them know that.
That's great at step one. What's the plan? If you don't have a plan, you won't succeed.
I can tell you what's going on right now, and this is how sad.
I'm just
before we met.
Everybody talks about them coming, but no one. I haven't heard anybody, not Pritzker, not Trump, not anybody say they're going to clean this up, and then
before and
right?
That's a valid point.
Where like, and that's my thing. It's great to take action, but what's the goal and what's the plan?
That's their job, to be elected officials to solve it.
But they're not coming up with one, right?
Exactly.
So,
but they keep electing the same people. Listen, here's how morbid it is, and we're going to take a break. I used to do this live on the air before we met. Do you know what we used to do on Friday at my shop? At lunchtime, we used to put in who could get closest to how many were shot, how many were killed. And we literally would take.
I think there's a Facebook page that has a bingo game about that every week.
And so I'm serious. We would do it live. I used to take callers, and we would say.
Wait, okay. So you bring up a good point. How long ago was that?
10 years ago.
So this has been this way for 10 years.
No, this has been this way my entire life. I was listening to Stephen A. We'll take a break.
Okay, so that's Stephen A.
You're talking about. You can bring up.
It's been this way for your entire 30
my entire
years.
Life.
Call it 30 years.
No, I'm 56.
So for 50 years, there's been a violence and gun problem in Chicago.
Correct.
And so in 50 years, we haven't fixed it.
We haven't fixed it.
So what's the plan? Bring in the National Guard?
I would say that's step one.
Okay. Let's answer that question after this break.
All right. You're listening to Dave Kusiak Show on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. At what is it? Strachan Van Til Food Market Studio here at my alma mater, Purdue Northwest.
old Jack Johnson. Swear I heard them angel calls. Lay outside as heaven falls. Heaven falls. Heaven falls. As heaven falls. Heaven falls. Heaven falls down on me. Nothing quite like all this color. Couldn't paint a better day. Got good times on the horizon. I can see them on the way. Couple birds came up beside me. Had to feed them some Bob Marley. Swear I heard them angel calls. Lay outside as heaven falls. Heaven falls. Heaven falls. As heaven falls. Heaven falls. Heaven falls down on me. Falls, heaven falls, heaven falls, as heaven falls, heaven falls, heaven falls down on me.
Welcome back, everybody. It's 7:08. It's been a couple months. Brent Brazier, Danyo's son, here representing. Brent, please tell us what you own, where you work, and then we're going to get into some phone calls. But I want you to tell me. I want to get into business here because I want to talk about some tariffs, and I want to tell you what's going on with a job that I have going on and the pragmatic approach I have to take. And I don't care if you're Trump, anti-Trump. I'm a businessman.
I'll tell you how there's a reality that we experience right now.
I'll tell you exactly, and this is I won't get into the specifics because there's two customers of mine, but I'll show you the reality of the reality. But tell people who you are, brother.
So I'm Brent Brazier. I'm the founder, dishwasher, jack of all trades at Doc Smokehouse, 1420 Calumet Avenue, and 754 North Velar Phillips in Milwaukee. But the region was our first one, coming up on 10 years.
Congratulations.
And we were talking about rock and rail, and I sent that picture to Joe.
I mean, I have it up. I just didn't know.
So that was our. This was our.
Bring that up was.
It would have been our 9th, minus the COVID year. This is our 8th year of doing rock and rail. And
how were your numbers this year?
Oh, they were great. They were great. We were up over last year.
You guys in Griffith was very lucky in the fact of this.
It was the best weather we've ever had.
But also,
I think that might have been the best weather I've ever had for any festival we've ever done.
But every other festival this year got dinged because it was 100 degrees.
Yeah.
100 degrees on the pavement.
And usually rock and rail is really hot.
And when you're on the pavement,
nice.
actually, they started something similar in Cherville a couple weeks earlier. They put a thermometer on the They put a thermometer on the pavement at like 5 o'clock. It was 107 degrees.
I'm sure.
So I mean, so people didn't want this one. Actually, we went 2 days in a row.
All the moons,
and it was 61 degrees when we left. Yeah. You needed a jacket.
Anyway,
let's go.
I'm inside of a black trailer with a smoker going. I know when it's hot.
I have a question for Brent before we get to the phone calls, and I have to do traffic and weather. But first, I want to know, why did you decide to go with a second store or restaurant all the way out in Milwaukee. Is there like a specific reason for that?
Yeah, my partners in that restaurant, I worked for them. That's how I originally moved from Texas to Milwaukee. I worked for White Lodging, which is based in Maryville, and I was in hotel management, and I was presented the opportunity to get a big promotion and open a hotel.
Look at you, kid. Look, Joe. We were talking earlier. Joe's going through some things right now. Listen to this.
And so I moved to Milwaukee, and we opened that hotel, and it was pretty successful. And I ended up leaving and doing some other things. But then when I opened Docks, the guys that actually own that hotel, it's 3 guys in Milwaukee, they're investors. They showed up at Docks down here one day and said, hey, the building existed. They took an office building and converted it to a hotel. They said, we just built another hotel, and we've got a great spot, and we want you to come put a Docks in it. And
how many hours a week did you work? How many hours do you think you put in during Rock and Rail Fest that week?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
How many hours did you? How many hours did you put in? How many hours?
7 days, 14 a day. Probably.
How many did you for 2 weeks during the Wisconsin State Fair?
I went about I think it was 28 days from kind of Pierogi Fest through the Wisconsin State Fair, where I didn't have a day off.
And you were working 16s.
Yeah, 16s.
And when I'm talking about working, it was blood money. I'm blood money. They call it blood money.
I wasn't up on a roof, but I wasn't sitting at a desk either.
You're how many? Just to give people an indication, how many sandwiches do you think you serve on a day? On any given day when you're at the fest, at your height of the Wisconsin State Fair?
I mean, just sandwiches,
or just customers and making.
I can tell you,
how many widgets do you sell per day?
So we would do. I would say the average number of orders we completed was around somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 a day.
1,500 and 2,000 orders a day.
So
how many people?
How many people work
in that for you to do that in the
6?
So 6 people are making between 1,500 and 2,000 orders. Divide that by 12.
Yeah, we can do one every couple of. I mean, it's.
So tell me,
I'm not Chick-fil-A at the drive-through, but we're pretty fast.
Tell me that's not blood money.
Slim down menu, and I mean, even Rock and Rail. Yeah, we do that with 3 people, and
if you don't, I mean, you can tell if you want. You don't have to. It's your business numbers. What do you gross at a Rock and Rail Fest?
Oh, I don't think. We do well. It peaked in about 2019, and it's slowly been coming back. One of the things we've seen, and this is, I've talked to a lot of vendors and seen this, as these fests have gotten more popular, there's a lot more.
There's a lot more.
Like at Rock and Rail this year, I think there was 5 barbecue trucks, whereas years ago I was the only barbecue guy there. Right, there's 2 or 3 guys selling tacos. There's 2 or 3 guys, and it's great. I mean, it brings more people, gives people more variety. But it's.
Why'd you bring up tacos? Because I'm half Mexican.
No, because I love
tacos. Yeah. What are you, racist? I told you this.
I brought up pierogies too. Aren't you half Polish?
Yeah. What is that?
There we go. I was catering to your background.
Do you want to talk about Empanada Fest now? Because we're going to talk about the 5 reasons why you want to go to Empanada Fest. And anyway, let's go to the phone lines. 219-845-1100. It's been a couple months. You could tell we've got some pent up. We haven't even got to half the things I want to talk about, but we want.
And we got to talk some college football too. I heard you talking about your big game.
That's right, baby. Here's the deal, Joe, and all you cheating Wolverines.
See, we're lying because we're both in the SEC now.
You cheating Wolverines, by the way. And you know who created cheating? Barry Switzer and the boys. We know how to cheat as good as anybody.
Bear Bryant was cheating.
Yeah. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Nothing wrong with stealing signs. Be more clever. I'm going to say that out loud.
There's nothing wrong with stealing signs if you're that dumb where you can listen.
Exactly.
Can't you just put someone in the stands, Joe?
I mean, I've said for years. There's nothing wrong with paying players, and then they made it legal.
I mean, that's why they have 3 guys doing your quarterback. When you're in college and you see the second and third guy next to the coach or next to the OC giving the plays, there's 3 different guys giving 3 different things. It's like baseball. When you have a guy on second base, he could tell the pitcher, the batter, hey, he's given 1, he's given 2, but it's between the pitcher and catcher to switch off on what it is.
Is actually they look at they can do it on second or depending on what hand the pitcher is because they look at the grip on the hand. Mm-hmm. So it's like if that's not. Just be smarter. It's not our fault that Connor Stallion's smarter.
You did say that these are football players, Joe, didn't you? Yeah. You did say this is football.
We do come with a little CTE, yeah.
Yeah, Joe, have you seen the? It's one of those ESPN documentaries about Greg Maddux.
No, I haven't.
So I was a Braves fan. I got to see Greg Maddux pitch a lot.
We
when I
love
was in
Greg
college.
Maddux here.
So they're talking with his catcher. They're interviewing him, and for like the last 3 or 4 years of his career, he called his own pitches based on how he caught the ball coming back. So fastball away, fastball in, change up outside. The way he caught the ball, and so no one could steal his signs.
That's crazy.
So
accuracy from the catcher. Like,
right. So how he caught the ball from the catcher determined what the pitch was.
So when we played, and Jack
he already knew what he was throwing before the ball ever comes
Jack
back.
Gaber was our baseball coach and was one of the very few coaches to go to the Final Four, Joe, in 2 sports. And this wasn't when everyone gets a trophy, like now. There was one class. Okay? Until 1995, there was one class. You understand what that means?
Yes.
That means that when you went to Andrean, for you to win this area,
Right.
you would have had to have beaten Crown Point or Lake Central or the biggest schools that there are.
Yeah.
Okay? Didn't matter what size you were. That's what made it so special when, like, Hoosiers happened, because you have a small little school like Hickory out of Milan taking on an Indianapolis school. So it's the real true David versus Goliath. So winning a sectional was really, really something. Okay? And so I forgot where I was going with that. But anyway,
It's been a couple of months. Yeah, let's take a call and rescue Joe.
I'm getting old, brother.
All right, you're on the air.
Good morning, caller. How are you?
Hey, when you guys said what we were talking, you guys were talking about what happened in Hessville Park, and you said there's a problem with society. Well, please don't lump me into that. There's a problem with a segment of society, and I'm not in that segment because my part of society doesn't roll like that, dude.
Either do I.
But there is a big portion of society that does. I think that's. I mean,
Yeah.
that sort of thing is much. I don't.
You see it on the internet every day. You see it at schools every day.
People,
You see them.
people filming crimes and fights and not doing anything about it. That didn't exist 20, 30 years ago. I think that's
People
the point
taking
I was
over
trying
the
to make.
streets of Chicago. It didn't exist when Mayor Daley. I'm talking about the old man. You know what he used to say? Bust heads. You know what I say? Scramble some eggs.
100%.
If
I
you're
agree with
dumb
you
enough to take over a
100%.
street with a bunch of cops there, guess what? You're dumb enough to get your eggs scrambled
Yeah.
with the Billy
Yep.
Club.
Nope. And like you said, they did it in East Chicago. You know, they need to do the same thing. Just if you don't go in there with an iron fist, like you said, it's never going to stop.
Life is an IQ test every day. And if you're dumb enough to go with a bunch of kids when you're 15 years old and try to take over the streets of Chicago, and they're smart enough to have billy clubs and a helmet on as a police officer, I say start scrambling eggs.
Yep. It's never going to stop.
And then when you come home, you have to tell your dad or why your mom or dad had to come pick you up at the hospital because you got your eggs scrambled because your dumbass was in the middle of Michigan Avenue taking over the streets. So as the great Mike Ditka said, the crazies are not going to run the asylum on my watch.
Yeah. Well, there's another subject you just brought up there. Go home and tell your dad. You know, 80% of the black children in Chicago are not born into a home with a father. Do you know that?
That's a problem.
Yeah, there's a problem there. You know,
I've told some of my own friends, Terry, I've told some of my own friends, after you're done with the weakest 3 minutes of your life, when you got your girlfriend or wife pregnant, that's not the end. That's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's not the end. That's just the beginning.
Yeah. Hey, if you could do everybody a favor, I'm sure a lot of people would like to know. I believe that the guy that got attacked the other day, I think someone mentioned that he has a GoFundMe. Could you maybe promote that during your show? And because after the anger I experienced listening to that interview yesterday, if that guy leaves with a dime of a balance on his bill to get fixed up, I'm going to be pissed. So maybe if everybody get that out there.
Joe's
so
going to
people
get
can
that
donate
together. I
money.
think it's Lindsay. Joe's going to look that up. And Terry, if there's
Paul, if you can send the information to me, I'll get it to Joe. I know Paul got it.
I know that my wife had told me this, that they had the last she had looked. I think they took it down once they got 4,500. I could be wrong, but and I know some dentists that would probably jump in and do some things pro bono to try to help out. But I know that I find this to be representative. I know you're upset that you don't roll that way, nor do I, and nor do the people I hang out with. Okay, this is here. So here's the reality of it. This is the same thing with what we're talking about in Chicago. You fall on one side or the other of this with what happened in Hessville Park and what's going on in Chicago. You either believe that the individuals that perpetrated that, and they're innocent until proven guilty, but once they're proven guilty, because clearly we have video that they did it and they've told on each other, that those people should be dealt with very harshly. The 25-year-old should go to jail, and the 13-year-old should go to, I got 4 letters for them, LCJC. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then also in Chicago, I don't believe that you should be able to have 50 people shot, or 58 shot, 8 dead every single weekend, and make excuses for that activity. If you're the mayor of Chicago or you're the governor of Illinois, the only thing that you should be... Do you ever hear an ad or a commercial on Chicago network stating, "Stop shooting each other"?
Oh, no.
Stop shooting each other. It is immoral. Stop shooting each other.
It's Indiana's fault. It's Ohio's fault. No, okay, let me tell you something, Brandon Johnson, you moron. I got more friends with more guns than you could dream about, but we don't go around and shoot each other with them. Okay?
Tony Panic used to be my Friday producer, and we used to say this all the time. This entire building, this entire studio, could be filled with AR-15s or whatever you call them. Do you know what those things would be for me? The heaviest paperweight that you've ever had. I have zero desire to pick it up. I have zero desire to shoot somebody. And when I have free time, it's the 1,000th thing that I want to do. I'd rather go over to Doc's and see Brent and order some barbecue, order a drink, talk some crap, watch a football game, sit in my garage, go see some friends, go work, go see a movie, go do whatever. Not one single time am I thinking to myself, I have this gun, and therefore I could go out in the streets, and I'm going to shoot that guy. Okay? That's me.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So just to jump in, Paul Goddard reached out. The GoFundMe is closed, but they've arranged for a dentist who's going to donate his time to cover those costs.
I knew that was going to happen.
I asked if I could give him a shout out. They said he's doing it.
He wants to do it he doesn't want to be
doing it anonymously. However, the Jewel in Munster where he works, if you want to, they will take donations at the customer service desk there if you want to go by and do that.
Perfect.
So I think it's a good thing.
So that one got to me, and then the other thing that got to me was the shooting in Minnesota at the Catholic school, the Catholic church. And Terry, thanks for the call. We're going to go to the next call. And Brent, I want to bring this up. And Joe, you went to Andrean. I'm sorry to hear that, but that's a different issue. We don't have enough time to go into that. I'm listening. I'm driving the car, driving my truck, and I hear about this shooting, and that one hit me. And the reason that it hit me is because I thought about my grandson, who's going to be 20 months, my 2 kids who are 29 and 32 that went to St. Thomas More. I went to St. Thomas More. My father went to St. Stan's. My mother went to a Catholic school. And it really rang all the way in my head of my father sitting at the church that they're ready to close down, St. Stan's. Myself being at St. Thomas More, the same church there, same church that we go to with my grandson. And sitting there looking at my friends like this. We went to church 3 times a week. And someone coming in and blasting away at us. We would be like sitting ducks. And we are so devoid of morality that we are thinking about doing that. Do we have too many guns on the street? Absolutely. Do we have the lack of morality where people are shooting each other and there is no sense of what life is? The greatest thing that we have, ladies and gentlemen, is life. It's the greatest thing that we have. And we take it on a daily basis like it's worth nothing. Someone please explain that to me. So that when you wake up, you literally say, I am willing to take life away from somebody else. What are we doing? There are 1,000 things to do other than shoot or kill or hurt other people. And if you are not trying to solve that problem, you are a part of the problem. And I'm tired of it. And it hit me as a grandparent, as a parent, and as an individual that lives in this community, that somehow we think it's okay, and whether the person is trans or not or this or that, I don't care. Don't shoot or hurt other people. What is so difficult about that? What is so difficult about that? You mean to tell me that you can't do that during the day? You can't do enough things in the day? I'll tell you what you can do. My old man used to say, if you don't have something to do, you'll start picking weeds. You don't have something to do, you're going to start scraping the windows. You don't have something to do, I'll find something for you to do if you're bored.
So I guess that takes us back full circle, is bringing in the National Guard is just kind of a Band-Aid to the larger problem.
Sure.
Right? I would assume that they'll be able to slow down the shootings, the violence, or whatever. But what's the real solution? What's the plan beyond that? And I think people don't want to hear. But I mean, that it's morality. People don't want to hear that it's kids having kids out of wedlock. I guess my point is it, if we're going to spend all this money deploying the National Guard, which I would assume it's more expensive to deploy the National Guard for an extended period of time than it is to hire and train more police officers, right?
You can't. I was talking to police officers last night at my club. I was talking to Jason Gore. There's a bunch of ATF guys that are members of my club. We had a club meeting last night. There's not enough police officers or people who want to become police officers. Do you understand this? We said we defunded the police.
How do you change that?
No one wants to become a police officer.
Do you have to pay them more? Do you have to? So it's like an onion in that there are layers to the problem.
Correct.
Right? I mean, the big problem or a big, you have the societal issues, but the big problem that kind of jumps out at me in Chicago, as I always see these articles about how understaffed the police are.
You can't have a sacred cow.
You're not going to get any better if you don't have more police
Brandon
officers,
Johnson
right?
said you can't. You know what? I talked to, I won't say who he was, another ATF agent last night, and we were going over this. You know what he said? We need more prosecutors. He said we arrest them all the time and they get back out. He said, here's the deal. You cannot have any sacred cows. If you're the mayor of Chicago and you're saying we're not going to arrest these kids I'm just saying you can't have a sacred cow.
You can't take anything he says seriously because he's the guy that got rid of the shot spotter, right? Right. So in my mind, if you're worried about shootings and you take away this tool that not only lets you know where they are, in my conversations with some police officers about this, it can kind of tell you, hey, this is an assault rifle, a long gun, or it's a pistol, or there's how many shots, it's an automatic. They know what they're getting into. So right? It decreases the response time. There's more chance to catch them. Chicago got rid of that. So when you say, I don't give any credence to any solution that the current mayor is going to put forward by saying we took this tool that helped us combat shootings and we got rid of it. So right?
I'm a fair guy, and I'm going to be fair to Mayor Johnson in this regard. I understand what he's trying to do. Here's what he's trying to do. Give me a second here. Then we're going to go to caller. What he says, and he's a very good speaker, is he says the following. The reason, and he, I think, grew up in Austin, the reason that we have the West Side and the South Side and many communities like that throughout this country is that we've divested in those communities and those kids don't have any other opportunities. So when you're looking at the grand scheme of things, what you're saying is this, and I understand this. If you don't have a strong male figure in your house, a father or father figure or older brother or uncle or cousin or priest
he's
or
not wrong
teacher.
about that.
No, I know. Listen,
I'm not.
So let me finish. He's saying Who's filling that void? The gangs. So they're recruiting this. So what he's saying is this: instead of spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on ShotSpotter, why don't we take that money and give a summer program or a summer job where we take this kid and say, instead of selling drugs and getting paid by the gangs, work for the park department. I understand what he's trying to do.
So there was just an article in the Tribune, I think it was yesterday. They've deployed all these new speeding traffic cameras.
Yeah.
You know how many tickets they issued in July?
10,000?
250,000. One camera generated $45,000 in speeding.
My wife used to get it all the time.
We can spend the money. We can spend the money on that because speeding is a bigger problem than gunshots.
Listen, this guy.
You just said it was a money thing.
I just said
we would rather spend the money.
I was explaining what he was saying,
I
and
know.
he is right in some regard. But it's like the same thing with these. It's the same thing.
If you take a tool that helps, it's indisputably.
You got to do both.
It is undeniable that it helps police respond to shootings, helps them solve crimes, helps them catch the people doing the shooting, and you got rid of it.
So does more police.
Right. But we took a tool that we knew works, and we said it's a little too expensive. We're not going to use it. So then I have a hard time.
He's going to be a one-term mayor. I mean, his approval rating's at 26%, and I'm trying to figure out the 26% that are voting for him.
But it's the teachers union, I think.
Yeah.
Did you see
there's $734 million in the deficit this year, and the city next year, the city of Chicago next year,
their budget $250,000 speeding tickets.
Listen, their budget shortfall for next year, the city of Chicago is projected to be $1.25 billion. You're not going to solve that by getting rid of crossing guards. Do you know what kind of number that is? What percentage of that, if you go on your phone, what is the percentage of what is the budget of Chicago? It's a big number. It's more than $1 billion. Joe, let's go to the phone lines. 219-845-1100. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Hey, let's bring this back locally. Let's forget about Chicago. Let's ask ourselves why we can't have a St. Thomas More Festival anymore.
I could tell you because I was on that committee.
What happened?
I could tell you exactly what happened. And I was the one that was asking Father and asking people at the end of every year. My kids are 29 and 32, and they would come home on a Friday or Saturday night and tell me exactly what was happening in the Midway. And the Midway, for those people that don't know what that is, that's where the rides are. So many people and many festivals they've done away with the Midway because that's a problem. So what started happening, and I was happy to be on the committee. I'm a St. Thomas More parishioner. I was a St. Thomas More kid. And my kids were there. I used to run the wheel, and we got it up to the point where we made $125,000, which is a lot of money. And more importantly, the people in the community had a great time. The vendors made a lot of money, and it was a great time that everyone looked forward to. As it started growing, at the end of every year, we would have a meeting. And after I heard what was happening in the Midway, I literally said in the roundup meeting to Father Mike and the committee, I said, what are we doing here? And he was like, what are you talking about, Dave? I said, what are we doing here? What is this? Is this a fundraiser? Is this a parish picnic? Like I remember when I was first at St. Thomas More, we used to do one day a summer. It was called the parish picnic, and after you went to Mass, everyone went there, and there were games, and you ate food, and people played bingo. Or is this something where we have music and food and rides, and we're trying to show our way of life to our fellow Munster residents and fellow Lake County residents? He said, well, I don't get what you're saying. I said, do you guys understand what's going on in the Midway? Do you understand the type of people we're bringing into this community? So the first thing that happened is they kept doing that. The first thing that was the negative, why I knew that the fest was not going to exist anymore, is the average person, the average parishioner stopped going to the festival. Okay? Then the average, and here's the thing that you're seeing at these festivals and why they can make money. It's all volunteer. So when you start getting people that are 60 years old or 62 years old and they start feeling uncomfortable at their own parish because the people that are coming in, they're not volunteering anymore and they're passing away. And these younger kids aren't filling those roles, so that's an issue. But then the community, if you remember, and I knew all the guys that went and met with the town of Munster did not give us our permit until we came in and showed them our security plan. Okay? And we were, wait a second.
Well, I don't think that's unusual at all.
I know, but I'm telling you exactly what happened because I was there. And then we went to fences. You used to be able to come in from 5 different areas, okay? You could park over when it first started. So I'm sitting there where the fence is, okay? And Lieutenant Sturbiak, who was doing security for Rock and Rail Fest, this is when he was a Town of Munster police officer, was standing there with a wand first. I was sitting there one time when a dude comes up and he goes like this. He wands him and he goes like this. Dude, what do you got? He goes, I got my gun. He goes, you can't bring your gun in here. He goes, you know what he said to him? He goes, why don't you hold this one? Go put your gun in your car, you dumbass. What's the matter with you?
Bottom line is, the Town of Munster and that law enforcement agency let the little gangbangers win, so you can no longer have a festival.
I pulled in Jewel, caller. I pulled in Jewel. Normally I used to park behind because there was an area where the people that were on the committee parked. Okay? They didn't know that because we used to have to come in and out a lot of times. So we were you can't really see it. It's kind of next to the 3-story condos there. There was an area where they let us park. I was coming from the other side, so I parked at Jewel. I ran in there real quick. I came back, jumped in Jewel, and left. 5 minutes later is when that shooting took place in Jewel's parking lot. I missed that. That shooting happened 5 minutes after I left. Okay, I knew that was so the community.
That was 2017.
I can't remember what year it was, but I knew that the community. We lost the community first. Okay, we lost the Town of Munster support, and we went in a 5-year period, maybe 7 years, where we went from $125,000 to the festival not even existing.
Okay, so let me ask you this. That $125,000 that you put into your parish, and we're hopefully raising good young people through that school, that $125,000 is no longer available. Yes or no?
I mean, they're not making it on the festival.
Okay, so we've let the gangbangers take over Munster and your festival. So you said, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So do we ask the managers in Munster, what is going on? What are you doing for your salary?
I mean, so
are we afraid of that question, Dave?
What are you talking? I'm not afraid to answer it. What are you talking about? We hired security. We hired about 15 police officers. So
Dave,
wait a second. Here's what was happening. They came in there. They go in the midway. They start fighting each other. Everybody's in the bar because they think that's where the problem's going to happen. There's nothing happening in the bar because there's 25 cops. All the problem was happening in the midway. So there's a bunch of 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. So the question becomes the same. Are you going to start scrambling some eggs or not?
Dave, let me help you with this. You can have 10 roofers on a Kusiak roof, and if only 4 of them are working, you're not going to make any money long term. So the people that you hire, once again, Texas, Uvalde, 70, not any of them have the heart to go in and save those children. You can have as many cops as you want at a festival. You got to get the ones that want to work. So in Munster, are we going to call Dave Nellens and say, what are you doing? Are we going to call your police department administrators and say, you're making a pretty good buck? Why can't we have this festival?
No, they lost the festival because people stopped going. They lost money. They brought it back a couple years ago, and they lost money.
People stopped going because they were afraid of the environment.
Correct.
So when are we going to hold people that are making a pretty good Munster salary responsible and saying, what are you doing for your salary that we can no longer hold this festival? What's going to be the line now? If Munster's already taken over and you allow Lisa Kusiak to go to Jewel and Munster alone, Dave, you need to think again because that's turned into a hole. Would you agree?
I would say, and I've said this on the air, and I've said it to many people, including people that you've talked to, I've had this conversation with elected officials behind the scenes. I've had these conversations with people at the highest level. And I grew up on Monroe Street, which is right behind Johnny's Tap. And I was a paper boy of every single one of those President Street. And I was the very first paper boy of Frederick before it was built. And then when it was built, I was the very first paper boy. So very few people know the northwest part of Munster like I do. If you were to tell me 20 years ago that the northwest part of Munster would look like it looks now, I would have called you a liar. And I ran for office in 2004 to solve that problem 20 years ago, okay? And my was law and order. And I was on a ticket that had police officers on it, and we were soundly defeated. So, but what I will tell you is the following, because I had this conversation with a realtor the other day. Those homes are never getting more money than they've ever gotten. You have never. There is a house on the corner. I won't say what it is, that sold for $425,000. If you would have told me that a house on the 8000 block or 8100 block of any one of those President's Streets sold in the 3s or 4s, I would have called you a liar. They are going quicker and faster than you ever can. And I'll also tell you this. Drive up and down Calumet Avenue and count the number of gates that you have in front of buildings. The corner of Broadmoor and Calumet, the gas station's been broken into 3 times. They have you know what I'm talking about, where you have a gate or whatever you call it, a security door. That never happened when I lived there. Okay? So what happened was this. We had the flood of '08, and you had a bunch of people leave their houses. You had a bunch of people buy, and a bunch of people bring a bunch of renters in. I actually called my banker at the time, and the guy who beat me when we ran against each other, Mike Mellon, and I said this to him. I said, you guys, with the Powers money, you need to form a Munster Development Corp, just like Hammond did, and you need to buy every single one of these properties. And we need to be in charge of this. We, as a community, need to be in charge of this area because I see what's happening because I'm a contractor, and I see who's buying these houses. Not only did I see what they did when they rebuilt them, and much of it was shoddy, and now they're renting all these, and now we got the problems we have. And then the final straw was COVID. When the Illinois shut down and Indiana was open, Illinois people used to think that we were horse and buggy. They really did. They never came over here. When they came over here because they were closed, they said, oh, my God, this looks like Illinois. There's restaurants here. There's bars. There's this. There's that. So now they're here, both good and bad, because I have people like Brent that own restaurants that love when people from Illinois come with green money and buy. I mean, I have other people. I remember
that when we were open here and Illinois was still closed, we were really busy.
Mark Freud.
It was like one of the few bright spots of about 2 years. It's like I went in one Saturday morning and we were getting ready, and then we just got slammed. It was like, what's going on?
They found us.
It was all the people from like our parking lot.
And so they also found us at Centennial Park. They found us here and there. And there's a negative side to it. And they found us at Munster Pool. And they ended up having to, literally, they were threatening some of the workers' lives because they weren't listening to what they were being told. Same thing at Whiting Beach during COVID. When we would go to Whiting Beach, and the people from Illinois would come over here and leave their garbage, stand up, leave their garbage. And then when the people would tell them what to do and follow the rules, they threatened their lives. Mayor Joe had to go during COVID that it was only for Whiting and Robertsdale people. So it comes full circle that we have people that don't know what morality is.
So let me ask you this, Dave, because this is probably a tough question for Brent. He doesn't. Dave, if you've got a roofer and you go by the job and he's not working and getting the job completed, what do you do with him?
I mean,
okay, so let me answer. You get rid of him. Okay, so the law enforcement community in Munster jumped in bed with the Republicans this last vote, right?
They've been in bed with the Republicans since the beginning of time.
So what are we going to do? Are we going to ring the bell of the Republicans and say, what the hell is going on in Munster with the crime? And when are you people going to start doing your job? You guys are making a hefty salary over there.
I'll tell you exactly what used to happen when I grew up in Munster and why Munster's having the problems that they're having. And this is the reality, and you can decide whether you think this is right or not. Here's what used to happen, and I've said this to the highest people in Munster, and I don't give a crap if they like it or not. Number one, we used to have the best town manager that there was whether you liked him or not. A lot of people didn't like him. Tom DiGiulio, when he was in charge, he was a king. He had more power than any mayor in Northwest Indiana, and he kept that city, that town up, number one. Number two, we had the best code enforcement that there was, a guy named Russ Shelton. Russ Shelton would come in, and if you had an inch long, he'd go to Andy Quinnell and say, Andy, your RV's been parked next to your house for a day and a half.
I remember.
All right? All right? So
I got some visits from him.
And we had the best department heads because they were there forever. They lived there. They were invested in their community. And just to be fair, most houses were built around 65. So those homes were only like 20 years old, right? And then thirdly, and this is what gets a little bit, this is the truth, and some people may not like it. I had friends that used to do a lot of nefarious things, and I was one of those. We would drive around Munster. You never drove through Munster because you knew you were going to get picked up. They racially profiled, okay? Racially profiled. If you were black or Mexican and you were driving through Munster in the 80s or 90s, you were getting pulled over, okay? The cops were the toughest. I'm just telling you that's what happened. And people knew this.
Training and experience. And if that Illinois plate coming down Ridge Road with that cracked windshield or license plate light out, that's called probable cause.
And so if you so now let me tell you where we're at now. We have a new town manager. Okay, God bless him. I hope he does a really good job. I heard him on the radio. I would say that all the people that had all that experience retired. So you got a bunch of new people. Code enforcement isn't as strong as it used to be. You have way more renters, and you have a housing stock that got older. And then no one fears your police department anymore. And I love Steve Shekel. No one fears your police department anymore. So if you're telling me that you don't have the best town manager, you don't have the best department heads, you don't have the best code enforcement, you have old housing stock, no one worries about the police department, then what you're telling me is you're no different than any other community other than your school system. And that's where we're at in Munster right now. That's the reality.
Well, I disagree. I think the police department in Munster is fantastic.
I didn't say that they're bad. They're not feared. Feared means you didn't drive through, you were going to get pulled over. And it wasn't just racially profiling. I've told this story 1,000 times. Billy Durham and I were walking through Hill and Vale when we were an 8th grade or freshman, and we had jean jackets on, and the police officer pulled us over and said, get your hands on the car and take everything out of your pockets because you look like a bunch of hoodlums. And they go like this, where are you going? And I went like this. I said, I go, what are you talking about? Billy lives on Linden and River Drive. I don't need to tell you where I'm going. Okay?
Cuffed you.
I live in Munster, and I don't need to tell you where I'm going. And guess what? Your ass was slapped on that car. I was talking to Sam Michael the other day, and this was the same thing that happened in Highland. I got my ass whooped by a cop in 1989 when I was 20 years old in front of Edo's. And you want to know what the Highland cops used to do when you weren't from Highland? They used to beat you, okay, and mace you. All right? And that was the reality of it. And you know what they tell you? Don't come back to our town.
But
I'm just telling you the reality.
Doing.
So you're asking me why things are the way they are. No one fears them. They used to ring your bell. Now, whether you think that's right or not.
Well, Joe's giving us the hard break signal. I got to make a phone call.
That's why you listen on Friday, because this is the reality. There's no sugar coating.
And there is no sugar coating on Fridays. I'll give you that.
I mean, that's the reality.
There we go. Fading out.
Life's too short to even care at all. I'm coming up now, out of the blue. These zombies in the park, they're looking for my heart. A dark world I'm losing my mind, losing my mind, losing control. One more spoon of cough syrup now. Whoa, whoa.
I was the knight in shining armor in your movie. Would put your lips on mine and love the aftertaste now. I'm a ghost, I call your name, you look right through me. You're the reason I'm alone and masturbate. I've been trying to fix my pride, but that shit's broken. That shit's broken. Lie, 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 I tried to hide, but now you know it. That I'm at an all-time I was the prototype, like 3 stacks on that CD. An example of the perfect candidate now. All your girlfriends say that you don't want to see me. You're the reason that I just can't concentrate. I've been trying to fix my pride, but that shit's broken. That shit's broken. Lie, 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 I tried to hide, but now you know it. That I'm at an all-time I've been trying to fix my pride, but that shit's broken. That shit's broken. Lie, 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 I try to hide, but now you know it. That I'm at an all-time low, 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 low. Low, 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 low. Try to hide, but now you know. I'm at an all-time. Hey!
All right. Welcome back, everybody.
They need to marry each
It's
other.
a little before the top of the hour. It's 7:56. You are listening to WJOB 104.7 FM, 12:30 a.m., and I'm going to give you the traffic and weather real quick. So, not much has changed out here in the region. There's not much traffic other than Klein Avenue heading north and south around Griffith. Heading into the city, 94 West is experiencing some traffic on South Stony Island Avenue. There's some more traffic farther down 94 West up towards Chicago more, and then you're going to have a lot of traffic on the Stevenson heading north as well. And then for your weather, like I said earlier in the day, it's going to be a beautiful day for some football on this Friday. It's going to be 69 degrees, mostly cloudy and windy with a little bit of sun. And then for Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be much of the same with 68 and 69 respectively. And that's your traffic and weather.
All right, let's get to the deal. Michelle Golden was supposed to be calling in, and she can't get in because the lines are full. So what we're going to do is we're going to go quick. Let's get through these lines, and she's going to call if she has time. So let's go right to him, Joe. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Good morning, Dave and Brett.
What up, brother? Let's get to it.
Yeah, hey, about festivals and everything, I do car shows, videos and everything, and after the covert, well, one place that I do car shows, they would have car shows, and they would have entry fees. And the regulars that come to that place, that business, and to buy food, the regulars would quit coming because they're not going to pay to get into something, and so I kept, a couple years I was doing the videos, I could see the parking lot's full because they don't come. He doesn't make any business on making his food because they want an entry fee. So the owner said, okay, you want to have a car show? Donations only, no entry fees.
So
Guess
what we did, Mike,
the lot gets full, and he made a ton of money on his food at his business because simple reason. They went to donations because simple reason. And then I quit going to festivals because when I was filming festivals, I'm walking through the parking lot after the covert, and I'm walking through the parking lot, and all I'm seeing is Illinois plates. And I'm looking at the people, the crowd, and the people there coming there, how they dress, how they act. And I quit going to festivals because it's not, to me, it's not safe anymore.
Hey, Mike, thanks for the call. So what we tried to do at St. Thomas More, you heard the caller say, so what we did is this. They said to try to make sure that people were invested, it costs you $10, but you give $10 and you get, Brent, you can buy food or booze with the $10. You know what I mean? So you're trying to make sure that you're forcing people to at least spend a little bit of money. So you're hoping that it's not just people that are coming there to cause problems. At the end of the day, we're talking about the same thing. When you have lack of morality and you have people that want to come to an event, and for years and years on these airwaves, I would sit and say, we're having this event. There's a bunch of people that want to have a good time. There's a bunch of people that want to serve booze and food and good music. If you want to come and be a good person and enjoy, we're going to embrace you. If you're going to be a jerk and you're going to cause problems, you're going to get arrested and you're going to go to jail. I don't think you can be any straighter than that. But those people that are causing problems are doing it everywhere. I don't know how Griffith does it. I'd like to have Chief Mance in, retired Chief Mance, but Western Days does a great job, and so does a Rock and Rail Fest and Blues and Barbecue.
They have a great police presence there.
I'm saying,
I'm there all day, and I feed these guys, and I see them walking, but like they're on every corner. You see them walking around. I mean, people are less likely to act up if there's that presence.
And then here's the other thing: if
you have cops on a beat, and you're not short 15,000 officers or whatever they're short, it changes the dynamic, I think.
Yeah. So let's go through it. I want to try to get to Michelle. Let's go through the lines. Let's keep rolling through, and hopefully she gets caught in. I want to talk about her situation, her group. It's the 25th anniversary of an awesome group that she's been running. You're live in the air. Let's go.
Dave, I'll run through this real quick. I know the guy that runs the numbers for Chicago. What's your numbers?
I don't do that anymore because I think that's kind of morbid. But if I had to, the weather's going to be a little bit cooler, and then we're coming off the fact that we had 58, and the city of Chicago is trying to make sure the numbers are low. I'm going to say the numbers are going to be lower than last week. So if we're playing a game of higher or lower, it'll be less than 50 and less than 8 killed, because the police they're going to try to have a show of force this weekend. Plus, I also used to play this game. It's going to be a little cooler. So when it's a little cooler, there's less shooting. When it's 100 degrees all weekend, people get agitated and they start shooting each other. So I'm going less than 58 shot and less than 8 killed.
20-3 be good for you?
There you go. You're on the books. All right, thanks a lot. Let's roll 219-845-1100. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Hello, Dave.
Yes.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. How come you guys ain't talked about the white elephant in the room all week?
I don't know what the white elephant in the room is.
Well, it's a person that calls in every day that hasn't called in. You guys talk about that kid that got assaulted, which was horrible. You don't talk about Bad Mac.
I don't know. I don't know anything about it, and therefore I'm not going to say anything about it. But thanks for the call. 219-845-1100. Good morning. You're live in the air. All right, Michelle, call in now. We cleared the lines. Michelle, 219-845-1100.
That's the Ball State. These guys are over in Muncie, right? That's an Indiana school, isn't it?
What's that?
Ball State?
Yeah, it is.
Ball State? Why?
Ball State's
why is that?
They're paying a visit to my Tigers down on the plains.
Oh, they're gonna get worked.
Yeah.
When you have Ball State,
we're laying 42.5.
I know.
If we're gonna work like that.
When you put Ball State on a schedule and you're an SEC team, that's called that's what Dick Vitale used to call Cupcake City.
Well, that's what most teams do in SEC and Big Ten now.
It's a pretty tough.
It's
a pretty tough conference.
Yeah, but Oklahoma's not. And Oklahoma and Michigan are playing each other.
Week?
They're playing tonight.
Who did they play last week?
Ball State.
Oklahoma?
Didn't they play Ball State last week?
Remember? No, I thought it was a different Illinois.
Every SEC team puts a cupcake.
Listen, you got to get a couple.
It's better than it used to be.
Yeah, but here's the other thing that a lot of people.
It's better than it used to be.
Here's a lot of things that people don't understand. Not only is it Cupcake City, some of these schools, when you look at them, they have a connection. The coach used to coach there. People don't realize this, Joe, that if you're a smaller school, you make your whole year's football budget by going into Norman or going into Ann Arbor or going into South Bend or going into a big university to go They pay you $1 million to come in.
Oklahoma's first week they played Illinois State.
Yeah, see?
Okay, so I said it was Illinois State. But here's the deal.
And then next week they're at Temple.
Hey, but let me tell you something. We gave you Jackson Arnold, and he looked real good the other day, didn't he?
He did. He did, which is scary because...
Wait, you're an Auburn fan?
Yeah, he's from Auburn.
I graduated from Auburn.
I told you he's a Confederate.
Yeah, I went to Auburn, yes. I'm an Auburn fan.
We got a call.
All right, let's go to the phone line. 219-845-1100. Good morning. You're live in the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Dave.
Is this Michelle?
It is.
I know you said you had a little bit of a cold, and I'm getting over bronchitis, and I think I may have to go back. It's been like 6 weeks. But if you can get out, first of all, thank you for calling in. I know that it's a very big weekend coming up. Tell people who you are and what's happening.
Well, I would, if you can, let Ian Brundage in. His voice is a little bit clearer than mine. We can both maybe team it for a few minutes and let everybody know what we're doing.
Go ahead. Hello?
Yes.
Go ahead. Are you saying you have someone else that wants to speak, you're saying?
Yeah, if you can let Ian Brundage in.
Yes.
He's been trying to come.
Oh, he's trying. I thought he was next to you. So you're saying we're going to keep going, and you're saying that Ian Brundage is going to speak on behalf of you?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
My voice is just not so wonderful.
Hey, listen, why don't you get yourself healthy, girl?
I'm working on it. Next week is a big week.
25, just before we let you go, you have to say who you are and what the organization is and what year it is.
So Books, Brushes, and Bands for Education is celebrating 25 years on September 12th. We are a proud nonprofit based in Hammond, but we do serve people from all over Northwest Indiana. We're having a block party on September 9th, but the huge celebration party will be at the Indiana Welcome Center on Friday, and I want Ian to be able to explain the exhibit that will be there and what we have planned.
You guys are educating the youth, is what you're trying to tell me.
We're doing the best that we can, and the conversation prior is so heavy, and it makes me think about all the things that we could be doing, spending money on, and prevention. But not so much prevention, just engagement. We need to talk about how we're engaging our community in meaningful ways beyond a one-day festival, beyond the schoolroom that our kids are in, if they are in school of any kind or homeschooled. What are we doing as a people? How are we spending our time? And I think Books, Brushes, and Bands for Education has done an amazing job of that in 25 years. And we don't want to be the best kept secret, and we want to serve more people.
Don't you think that those 13-year-old kids that were in Hessville Park that may have taken part in that tragic situation, or were at least watching and not stopping, would have been better served by either reading a book, or, as the great Father Dominic Bertino told me in the mid-'80s, one sport, one play, and one instrument makes a very well-rounded person?
Yep, and I knew him well. He was at St. Joe's for years, and we do need to have people realize that everything doesn't need to be a competition. We're all focused on the best and the most. We need to be looking at the individual moment, the process, and that's really what our work is about. And as a result, we see people repeatedly over many years, and now they're coming back to us as alumni, or I see them in the grocery store, and it's just.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you that. You led me to my first question, since it's been 25 years. So now you have people that you remember 25 years ago or 20 years ago, that if they came to you when they were 15 and it was 20 years ago, they're 35. So the likelihood is that they've been married and have children or whatever they're doing in life. How does that make you feel, knowing that they're coming back and saying that I have become who I have become because of what you did in your organization for them?
I just received a thank you note from a kid who's off to college, and it was the most beautiful gift I have received in years. And not only that, the person that you're going to talk to next is an alum of ours, and I'm extraordinarily proud of who he's become. I know that BBB has touched his life, but at the same time, to see our kids grow up and maintain integrity and build their character and realize that what they do every day affects the next person. We're not living independently of each other. And I have 2 alumni actually working for us right now. But it's like I pinch myself thinking 25 years, we're still here.
So you are good at what you do, and I tell you, you never come with the hook hard enough because you're an artist. And artists don't come with the hook hard enough because they're artists. But you did ask for $250 for the 25th, and I know the owner of Kusiak Construction. So we're going to go ahead and place the $250 sponsorship. And things are tough for the local guys, so our money means a lot to us. We also just donated $200, and Jeff Colby from the Hammond Education, I think whatever group they're called, Scholarship Fund, just sent us a nice letter and a picture of the kids that got a scholarship as part of the money that we gave at their golf outing. And then we also are giving $1,000 to Connie Karras and Veterans Views, and we've exhausted our amount this year, and so we will send the $250. So I'll let you know that. Make sure that you send me where I need to send it to, and I'll make sure Julia does that. But if you notice what we're doing at our company and others do the same, it's education-based. What you're doing is education-based. What Jeff Colby and that group is doing is education-based. We're also in the military. We're into our organization, our corporation is giving back to the community, to those that do things, okay? We need more of that. It's a battle right now. Who's going to win? The people that did what they did in Hessville Park, or the people like you, or the people like Connie Karras, or the people like Jeff Colby? Okay? Who's going to win the battle of morality and society and helping each other out? And high tide rises all boats. Is Lake County going to be known as people like Michelle Golden, Jeff Colby, Connie Karras, or is it going to be known by the 25-year-old that beat the hell out of a kid with autism and 13-year-old kids clapping and videotaping it and thinking that that would be a good thing to put on the internet? I would dare say that I'm going to put my money on you and your group and the groups like yours. And I hope that everyone listening would do the same, because it is a battle right now and it is heavy. But we need to give these kids an opportunity and arm them with everything they need to go be successful and become mentors. Because a community, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm agreeing with Hillary Clinton in something, is that a community is, a village is made of a community of everybody, teachers, priests, aunts, uncles, you name it. And hopefully mothers and fathers, number one. Grandmas and grandpas, someone that needs to put their foot up your backside when it's necessary. And living in a Polish household, that happened on a daily basis.
The one thing that we've got to do, Dave, before you switch over to Ian is, and to everybody that's listening, you never know about that one conversation that you could have with a child that is going to make them think, make them ponder, take in something that they're going to use as a seed. You have no idea the impression. We have to be careful with our thoughts, which become our words, which become our actions.
Yeah, but at the national level, Michelle, unfortunately, you got the Democrat and Republican Party that it's a downward spiral, and they're both pointing the finger at each other, stating that the other person's the problem, as they both are entering this game. It's like a game of atomic war. It's guaranteed mutual destruction. And that's what's going on. And we unfortunately, with all this gerrymandering and all this other stuff, we're rewarding bad behavior at the national level. And all you got to do is watch the cable shows each night. And until we get rid of that, it's turned into a business. And these people have sold this country out. So the battle becomes, are we going to defeat the Democrat and Republican Party? And that's a hard thing, because you've had to put your head up against it. I do. I have to deal with the realities of government every day. You have to deal with the realities of government every day. Bureaucracy and the way things are is a very hard thing to change. And so we have to continue to try to do that. And like we were talking earlier about 58 people getting shot, 8 people getting killed. It's the same thing in the public schools, especially what's going on in Hammond, and you're one of the options. We can't accept 30% approval ratings or graduation, whatever the numbers are. We can't accept it. It's not acceptable.
Well, I agree with you. That's exactly why I'm still here doing what we're doing, is because we can't accept it. And we've got to push for a higher level of expectation for ourselves. And with that, for our kids. And our kids have to know that, what we're doing, Dave, is not arts for art's sake. That's not what it's about. And you know that. That's why you support it. That's why other people support it. The arts are something that are so tangible and can so much make a difference.
The skill sets go across the entire spectrum. So if you can read, if you can paint, or you can play an instrument, that means that you have the complex brain to live a world that you can do anything that you want. Okay? And that's what's important. And that's what Father Bertino was telling us about becoming a well-rounded individual. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Bishop Noel Mind, Body, and Soul stands for. Okay? That you have the option. And at 56 years old, I have friends and family that are no longer with us that made poor decisions. I have friends that made poor decisions that are still living, and now they have less options. When you get yourself ready in the world, before you know it, you're 60, and you have to be financially sound, and you have to be able to be physically sound, and you have to be able to have some options in life. If you don't learn those things and you put yourself behind the 8 ball, which I can't stand, I see it all the time with these kids. They're behind the 8 ball from the beginning. They have no options when they're 50 or 60. And what happens in Chicago and what happens in some of the streets here in Gary and East Chicago and Hammond is it's the lowest form of survival. These kids are just trying to survive. And so it's sad. And until the final time I'm on this radio, I'll constantly be talking about those people because, as I said before, and I know it's heavy in the morning on people's way to work, but it doesn't go away just because you don't want to think about it. But these kids and 58 people getting shot and kids not getting an education and another group graduating without the skills ready to make themselves what they can be in this world is unacceptable.
Of course it's unacceptable. I agree with you 1,000%.
So what Brent said earlier is, what do you do about it? And that's in what your group is part of the solution.
All right. I'll leave you with this. As a parent volunteer for 25 years, I believe in kids and I believe in giving them options. That's what this has always been about. We have thousands and thousands of alumni that have kids that have worked with us at different ages. I'm going to let Ian talk to you now and let him tell you about the event and his experience a little bit as an alumni, and that should help paint the picture, if you will, for next week.
Michelle, get better. Oh, you got to get yourself better for the event, and special thanks to Phil Talon and his group for having the event at his place right down the street. Brent, you're on the committee of that. Did you guys know you were doing that?
What's that?
Aren't you on the CCVVS or whatever you guys are called? The Alphabet Soup of Northwest Indiana? What do you guys call it?
The Lake County Convention and Tourism Bureau?
Yeah, they're having the event at your place.
No, they've really activated that space. We just installed some new AV hardware, and it'll be a fantastic event.
All righty, we'll try to get to Ian. We're just going to keep going through calls, and part of being successful is having a lot of people want to call in, and we will continue to go and get yourself better so you can enjoy next weekend. I
will. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having us on, and I really appreciate the sponsorship.
All righty. I'll make sure Julia I got your information. Resend it, and I'll make sure Julia sends you the check from Kusiak Construction. All right, take care. 219-845-1100. Joe, let's go through it. We want to get to Ian, then we'll take a break after that. No calls. Ian, if you're listening, 219-845-1100. So, Brent, I have to talk about this, which is really, really bad. I hate talking national stuff, but I have to. This Jeffrey Epstein situation. I mean, I can't believe that. So if you want to talk about uniting the parties, I've been listening the last few days because I knew I'm coming back on the radio after unplugging for about 60 days, which made my life much better, by the way. So I'm watching and listening to people who would never agree with each other. Like
when Marjorie Taylor Greene starts saying stuff, you're like, wow, she's right. You know you're in a bad place.
So I have said this repeatedly.
She's a loon.
I have said this repeatedly. She's not a loon. She is a loon. Listen, in fact, she's playing a role, and she's become very wealthy.
She's
she
introduced legislation to ban chemtrails.
I don't even know what that is, but
it's because they don't exist. It's not a real thing.
I know, but here's the deal.
She's a loon.
Look at their net worth before they become congressmen, and look at what she's become. She's playing a role.
Oh, yeah.
But for a moment, she sounded authentic.
She did.
You know why?
Yeah, I agree.
Because she was next to women that were abused, and they were authentic. So here's what I've said before, and this is why they don't want this to come out, is because rich, mostly white guys, in this case it may be almost all white guys, but rich, wealthy dudes get to do whatever they want to do. And when you have people like maybe Bill Gates, maybe Bill Clinton, maybe the president, maybe people from Israel, maybe double agents, maybe people at the highest level of this world, guess what?
So what?
They get to do what they want to do.
I really didn't care much about this whole Epstein thing until it's gotten to this point where they are adamant about covering it up. The president says if Congress votes to release this stuff, I'll take it as a hostile act. What happened to the attorney general's like, yeah, the list is on my desk, and like a week later, you're like, yeah, there's no list.
You know what happened? You know what happened?
Now it's like now it makes somebody like me who really didn't care go, wait a minute, there's something going on here. Now I want to see it. They had this like 100 people or all these victims.
It's the same thing that yesterday with
it's good to see something is bringing people together.
It's the same thing with JFK.
We can all still agree that pedophilia is bad.
It's the same.
Human trafficking is wrong.
It's the same thing with JFK Jr. when he's saying, and when Bernie Sanders said this, they're bought off. They're bought off. Of course they are. Of course they are. Here you can go to.
You're talking about Robert.
Well, yeah, with
Jr.,
RFK. By the way, I interviewed him here on these very airwaves.
Was he a nut then?
He was in the throes of
heroin addiction. He came into the. I was talking last night. Isn't that wild?
I was talking last night with Johnny Aguilera about this. He came into Reform Junkie. He came into the Genesis Center, and there was an event. He was an environmentalist. And he came in, and I get a call. I want to say Rick Federici was even involved back at this time. And they say, RFK, we need you to interview RFK Jr. I'm like, okay. He had a real bad scruffy. We went and saw him at the Genesis Center.
He talked like that back then?
He was, it's just 20 years ago. And you could probably look. You could probably look. He looked disheveled. His tie wasn't all the way up. It wasn't buttoned. And then we interviewed him. He's an interesting fellow in this. I vaccinated my kids. I vaccinated my kids.
Good.
But I also do believe that we're over-vaccinated. I also believe that, and here's the thing that I will say as we get into this topic as well. All these people from the CDC and the FDA and all this other stuff, you think you're bragging about what you've done in the last 20 years for our kids to be as fat as they are?
Well,
and then you throw
they don't have the measles.
Okay, well, I'm with you on that. I'm the last one right here in 68. You want me to show you my arm?
My kids
1968 was the last one that it's this big. It's right here. I was the last year that they put that. So all my kids were vaccinated, and I know my grandson just got vaccinated. My point is this. You think that we're a healthy society right now? You think that the CDC should be taking a lap around the block stating that what they've done is a win?
I think in terms of vaccines, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
I think
the data speaks for itself.
The processed food, the bowl garbage that's sitting on every single corner here.
At one point, the measles were eradicated
I understand.
in the United States. Now it's coming back because, quacks said, "Oh, vaccines are bad."
I was listening.
Interesting thing. So, Florida the Attorney General
Ian's
said,
calling in right now. So let's. Can we? Do you have him on? I'm sorry, Brent. I want to finish the topic of this.
On hold. I don't know.
Ian, let's go to him. Let's clear. We want to finish this. Ian, 219-845-1100.
So, the Florida just said they're getting rid of all vaccine
mandates.
Right, but now you have to. If you have a religious. What is it? The Christian scientists that don't believe in medicine. But if you have a religious objection to vaccines,
the Mennonites, what's the one that?
Well, okay, so you can get into school without it, but most kids have to have their shots to go to school, right? You have to have a basic set of vaccines. Florida just said they're.
I am thinking. Thinking about going down to Florida because of that. Not going down to Florida.
There was a doctor that said, and this was like 4 or 5 years ago, that said one kid infected with the measles visited Disneyland, and it led to measles outbreaks in 11 states. Something like 40-something people got sick, and one person died.
I got you.
He goes, 50 million people visited Disneyland last year.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Oh, I am thinking that it's a ridiculous thing for what they said, but
two things can be true.
Yeah.
We can have a problem with obesity and poor diet and lack of exercise and all those things, and vaccines can still be safe and effective.
I agree with you.
But I think, and I watched just clips.
And you could also say that the CDC during the COVID completely lied and misled. Okay, first of all, an airborne vaccine.
Did you see the senator yesterday that asked Kennedy? The senator, I can't remember which one it was, but he was a doctor, and he said,
Cassidy,
that was it. Cassidy.
He's running for re-election.
He said, I think President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for Operation Warp Speed. And Kennedy said, I do too. And he goes, but you just said the vaccine killed more people than COVID. And Kennedy said, no, I didn't, but he had just said it like 15 minutes before.
I
so
think
when
that-
someone will sit there and abjectly lie about what they
Yeah.
said 15 minutes before when everybody's sitting in the room,
I think
they have a credibility issue.
I think that
he's a quack.
I think that this is a reaction to the way COVID was, and you had a bunch of people. They should have come out and said the following: we didn't know what we were doing. We made it political. Anyone that would tell you that an airborne pathogen was not going to hit you because you put 6 feet between us is a quack. Okay?
Okay.
And if someone's going to tell you that a mask that is a cheap one that we wear all the time if we're just in a regular dusty area is going to keep a virus that's minute
I agree.
is a quack. So two things could be true at the same time.
So because they screwed up, we now
I didn't
all
say
have
that.
to
This is a natural reaction
we
to
get
that.
I mean, Bobby Kennedy's a nut job.
Yeah, but the guy that
Hey, like,
did
there's
it,
no two ways
Yeah, but
about
it's
it.
not
He's a nut
Bobby.
job.
The guy that did it in Florida is a doctor. That's the attorney general
No, he's the
or surgeon
whatever.
general, whatever it's called.
Okay. So
But let's go to the
great for him,
do we
but-
have Ian on the line? Let's go. Let's clear these. Then we got to take a break. 219-845-1100. We do want to talk about BBB, positive thing. Good morning. You're live in here.
You can call people names all you want. You call them a quack. You call them this or call them the other thing.
I
Whatever
will
you call
because he
them.
is. You're not going to change my
but-
mind on that. I have an
but-
open
but
mind
that-
on a lot of things.
but-
Bobby Kennedy's a quack.
But for that congressional panel yesterday to make the outright false claim that COVID killed 2 million people, that's flipping BS. We all know people died during the COVID period. They didn't all die because of COVID. A majority of them died with COVID.
Did you vaccinate your kids?
Wait
a second. Did you vaccinate
And
your
because
kids?
of that, we should get rid of the vaccine for polio and the measles. That's your logic. I just want to follow the way you're going here. So COVID was a screw up. We agree on that. But because of that screw up, we should then say, you know what? That polio vaccine that eradicated polio, let's get rid of it. It didn't make sense. They could be lying to us about it. Is that your logic?
Did I say that?
No, I
point
did.
is-
I'm just
point
curious
is
what your
two-
logic is.
Are you gonna let me finish my point?
Go ahead.
My point is, 2 million people did not die because of COVID.
Okay, I concede that. Go ahead.
A lot of people made a lot of money off of that vaccine. Zelo made money off of that, off of COVID. The relief plan and the millions of dollars that were shelled out. It was a money-making endeavor. A handful of people probably died because of their morbid condition, and COVID put them over the edge. 2 million people. COVID did not take 2 million lives. That's an outright lie. As far as the other vaccines, I'm not a big vaccine guy. I was required to give my kids vaccine in order for them to enter the schools.
Either one of them get polio?
But I do know.
Did either one of them have the measles?
Are you going to let me finish my point?
I'm asking.
No,
Either of your
they
kids
didn't
have polio or the measles?
Not to the best of my knowledge, no. But
Okay.
I do know people who had kids who had perfectly healthy kids until they got vaccinated, and I know that for a fact.
Okay. So the question becomes this. I mean, I am open to both sides because here's the reality of it, and I'm in a unique situation that I have to love pharma because it keeps me alive because of the miracle drugs that were put together, which is Entresto, Farxiga, and Carvedilol. And I can also believe that we're over-medicated and that those people are trying to make as much money as they possibly can. And we are the most prescribed country in the world. We are the most prescribed country in the world, and people are making the most money that they possibly could make off of it. But yet, because of it, they've also saved a lot of lives.
Politicians, lawyers, pharmaceutical sales reps. Put them all in the same bus, they could drive over a cliff.
So let me ask you a
all
question. Now, let me ask you a question now, because this is going to be a topic that I want to get to. NIPSCO is a monopoly that can charge whatever they want to, and they just did, and now everyone's paying it. And is that okay that they get to do that because there's no other competition? You realize that you cannot sell energy in Northwest Indiana unless you are NIPSCO. That is a state law. So,
why would you? Me of all people?
Because you work for them. I'm asking you a question.
Hey, if I ask one of your roofers, one of your convict roofers that's up on somebody's roof right now that probably can't get insurance, why is Kusiak charging the prices for shingles that he is? What right does that guy have to answer to that?
I'm asking you a question. You don't want to answer for NIPSCO, so NIPSCO can answer.
If one of your felon roofers is on my roof right now, and I ask him why is Kusiak charging me as much as he is for this roof,
you're more than welcome. You can ask. You can make whatever assertion you can because this is what people do when they can't answer a question. You can't answer a question. You work for NIPSCO.
I'm not in a position to answer that question.
Oh, so wait a second. You call all the time and tell people we have to answer what you ask us all the time, and you put us on the spot. But the minute that someone asks you a question, you don't have the balls to answer that?
How am I going to? In what position am I in that I can answer that question?
You're a person that works for a company. Do you believe that NIPSCO should be a monopoly? I worked at Corn Products. We made our own energy. We used to sell it to the grid. That was legal. You cannot do that in Northwest Indiana because the NIPSCO has purchased all of the Republicans downstate. We now have the Governor Braun, who has an opportunity to put 2 new people on the IURC, which it would be able to say we're going to give a 17% increase on electric after the 10% that we just got. We just saw next door where a guy for 50 years was working with NIPSCO or Commonwealth Edison, and that he's going to jail over it. My question is that everybody is paying additional money. It is killing this economy, and I want to know if you think it's okay for NIPSCO to be a monopoly and to hit people for 16% and then hit them for another 10 without us having a say.
If one of your felon roofers,
that has nothing to do with my felon roofers. I'm asking you a direct question.
Let me.
So you deflect like you can. You call all the time and you put us on the spot, but you're unwilling to answer the question.
Last month, my power bill in Dyer was double my power bill in Milwaukee, and I have 4 times as many square feet, twice as many HVAC units, more cooler space. I use way more power.
It would be double than Indianapolis because Indianapolis's rate it is a monopoly. Double. It is a monopoly that is put together by Dean Mitchell from the very beginning to now, where they are in complete control of the Republican Party downstate, and it's going to be very interesting to see what Governor Braun does with this. He actually has an opportunity to put 2 people on that board, and they have heard, you heard it here, that more people have called their Republican representatives and said, what the hell are you doing? And you know what? They can't answer it because here's the reality. It is a state law that you cannot sell energy in Northwest Indiana unless you are NIPSCO. They have rigged the system. And they've done it by paying elected officials. It is your typical play to pay.
Let me finish on this point. If one of your non-union
so you cannot. All you could do is deflect because you don't have an answer. You don't have an answer. You call here and you say all the time that you're not giving a single cent of tax increase. You live in Crown Point. The police aren't getting a raise. The teachers aren't getting a raise. No one's getting a raise. But where you work, we have no choice but to give you a 16% raise. What did you guys get your raise on your last 4-year deal? What did you average? What did you average in your collective bargaining at NIPSCO over your 4 years?
Boy, this call couldn't have came sooner for you. Could have.
No, I'm asking you a question. How much raise did you get in your? I mean, I could look it up.
You're going to listen to me because I'm.
So, all right.
Yeah, I hung up on him.
All right. So, he gets like that, doesn't he? That is a typical caller that calls and says, "I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot." And then when you ask a simple question, he does. Did you hear? I can't answer for that. So everybody else is dumb. Nobody else's money is good. Everybody else, but NIPSCO.
The fact is, we're paying a lot more for our power bills.
Well, it's going to be interesting because this is going to be an internal battle between the Republican Party downstate. Because Governor Braun has an opportunity to put 2 new people on the IURC, which NIPSCO. First of all, I know people don't understand this. NIPSCO is a monopoly. You cannot offer energy in Northwest Indiana unless you're NIPSCO. So I would say to any state rep right now, and I will have any of them on my program, I want to know what you're going to do with the future of NIPSCO. I want to know what you're going to do with the future of making things. I hear all the time things were going to be more affordable. Didn't we hear that? Things were going to be more affordable? 16% increase? That's more affordable? In what world is that more affordable? I want to hear it. So here, and you hear all the time, all the Republicans are calling every single day. This is your party, and it's your, not only your party affiliation, this is your party. You control the state. You have supermajorities in the House. You have supermajorities in the Senate, and you're in control of the mansion. What are you going to do to make energy more affordable in Northwest Indiana? And the person that you have to deal with is your friend and the person that you go to every time there's a lobby, NIPSCO. Are you going to sit and look across from them, Brent, and say you're not getting your 16%?
We'll answer this all when we come back. You are watching and listening to WJOB 104.7 FM, 1230 AM at the Strachan Van Til studio. This song is for my man, Rick.
It's Friday, and we're back at it, and this is what you get. Whether you agree or disagree, it's 100%. I had bronchitis a month ago and still have it. 219-845. We have Ian on the line. We need to finish up BBB. Excuse me. We got the Boomer Sooner right there, kid. Look at Peter Krakowski right there.
Hey,
that's going to be an. No, he's an Auburn.
I'm pulling for Oklahoma this week. 2 weeks.
We're gonna tear up
2 weeks from now. We should all get together.
What's Arnold's first name? Gardner Arnold. Jackson Arnold. Gardner Arnold.
I hope he goes into Norman and lights y'all up.
He may. That's my luck. He may. Hey, listen.
You guys are getting ahead of yourself.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get to Ian. Let's do BBB. Michigan. Ian is on the line. Good morning. You're in the air.
Hi. Good morning. How are you?
Spirited as always. That's what happens on Friday. So we want to solve the world, and you got good things going on. And Michelle spoke, and as you can tell, I'm getting over bronchitis, and Michelle has a little bit of a cold, and she's going to get ready for next week. It's a big event next week. First of all, let's talk about the event, and then we'll talk about your experience with the BBB.
Yeah, definitely. So Books, Brushes, and Bands for Education is turning 25. The organization was started by Michelle Golden, based here in Hammond, Indiana, and we provide a whole range of art activities for students and their families. Oftentimes free. We have a free book program called the Book Brigade, and then we have an after-school choir program that has a small tuition associated with it.
So what's going on next week if people want to help?
Yeah. Definitely. So Tuesday, September 9th, we're going to have a free birthday block party at our office, which is the Merge building right next to Harrison Park in beautiful downtown Hammond. So that's from 3:30 to 6:30 drop-in style. We're going to have a yard sale with some items from our collection, different T-shirts from over the years, and then the big thing is around 6 p.m., the choir program is going to be performing. This summer, for the past 8 weeks, we've had students ages 5 to 18 working, and then also an adult choir that's open to anyone 18 up. So it's two really great groups who have been working really hard, and they're excited to show off everything that they've been preparing.
What about the fundraiser that's happening over here at the Visitors Authority?
Yes, so Friday is our big birthday fundraiser. Unfortunately, ticket sales for that have closed. We've already submitted our dinner count to the venue, but it's not too late to donate and to support. This fundraiser is really important. As we've said, Michelle Golden is the one who started Books, Brushes, and Bands 25 years ago. She has given countless volunteer hours working to make this organization possible, and we're really at the stage where we're trying to figure out what the next steps of BBB will look like for Northwest Indiana, for Hammond, how we can create more opportunities like the ones we have for the past 25 years for our families. So the fundraiser is going to be a really exciting event. Again, those two choirs will be performing, and we're going to have a display of the many different visual art projects, musical projects, reading-related projects that Books, Brushes, and Bands has put on since it began in 2000.
What would you say, what year did you go through there, give or take?
So I was actually born in 2000. I'm 25 myself. So I started in the choir program when I was about 7, in 2007, and then played in the choir and the band. I played the alto saxophone all the way up through the start of high school. So for me, it was a really great opportunity to explore music, because in my everyday school, I didn't have time for that in my schedule. And then it was also a great opportunity to meet students and families from all over Northwest Indiana. Even though BBB is based in Hammond, our choir programs, our band programs are open to students from all over the region, even the Chicagoland area. So by participating with that, I have a wide network of friends who I wouldn't know without BBB.
Skill sets you learned that you take to this date.
Definitely. Being on the other side, I started working with Michelle as part-time staff after I graduated college, and it's so different to see what it takes to make all of this happen. When I was a student, I would just show up at class, maybe practice my instrument at home sometimes, not as much as I was supposed to. But now working here, I see all the logistics, the phone calls, the artists, the organizers that it takes to make this possible. And through practicing my instrument, through rehearsing with the group, preparing for big performances, whether it was in downtown Hammond or in Chicago at the Symphony Center, I have gained a skill set of knowing how to present myself, knowing how to communicate and share all the important things about the arts. For me, I went to college for history, journalism. But journalism's kind of a lot right now, as you all have been talking about. So after I graduated, I was happy to shift into this slightly more community-focused sphere where I still get to use a lot of those same skills.
So I think this is Brent, but I think one of the interesting things you were talking about is what you gained from those practices in groups, and one thing you didn't say, but I think you were on the cusp of, is interacting with other people, right, and working together as a group to achieve a goal.
Definitely. It's very similar to sports in that way, except it doesn't necessarily have a competitive aspect to it. Really, it's about the group coming together to achieve this final performance, this final moment where there's an audience, our family, the public is there watching, and we are displaying all the skills that we've learned. I don't personally still play the saxophone as much as I did back then, but just that routine of knowing how to take something seriously, show up for a group that depends on you, and learn how to depend on other people, learn how to trust other people, all of that.
We appreciate everything that you've done. We're going to be out there. Kusiak Construction is going to give $250. And special thanks for calling in. And
I appreciate it.
Keep helping kids, brother.
Yeah,
keep helping kids.
Our website is just bbb4e.org, and on that we have a special web page about the 25th birthday. Again, it's too late to purchase tickets to the dinner, but we hope to see everyone out at the Tuesday block party, and it's not too late to make a donation towards our big birthday goals.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate that.
Keep it up, Ian.
Yep, thank you.
All righty, 846, 219-845-1100. Do we have anyone calling? It's been.
Let's get Peter. You want to come out here and talk about what's going on tonight on the network?
No, Joe Cimino is.
He's the Lee Corso, right? Not so fast, my friend.
My dad actually, he texted me last Friday, and he was like, this is Lee Corso's last game hosting, and this is your first one. And I was like, yeah.
So Lee Corso is a legend. Was down at Florida State. The connection to Northwest Indiana is Stan Dobis, who played at Florida State with Burt Reynolds, and we had him in here a couple years ago before he was inducted into the Indiana Hall of Fame. Stan Dobis played for Pete Rosinski and the East Chicago Roosevelt. Goes back to the south side of East Chicago again, north side, East Chicago Roosevelt. That started Florida State looking at Roosevelt. They offered my father, I'm the runt of the litter, he was a big Polak, and a scholarship, and that was because of Stan Dobis and knew the coaches there. And he talked about Corso and Burt Reynolds. So Corso has been an interesting guy. I think he's 91. He's had a great run. It was time for him to go. He clearly has had a stroke. It was time for him to
he hasn't done it full time, I think, since COVID.
And what's his name? And they help him out. You could see this. It was just time for him to go. But he really did put College Game Day on the map.
Yeah.
And so
I met him in Auburn. He ate in the restaurant where I was working when they came to do I can't remember what game it was. I think it was a Georgia game in like 94.
Yeah.
He was old then.
Yeah, he's old. He had a great life.
Greg James was still the other. So it was way before Herb Street. He wasn't even in college then.
I think they struck gold with Pat McAfee being his quote-unquote replacement, right? He's going to bring the energy. It's going to be great. But still, with Lee Corso being gone, to me, I grew up in that era. He's all I know.
Yeah.
Right? So this is, it's just
I've
a
been
new
watching
era
college
for me, watching college football.
For 30-something years.
It was
on game days at Auburn.
Have you gone to College Game Day?
Before our first drink, and we watched College
Good.
Game Day before we went to tailgate.
Yeah.
That was
and that's the thing, and it's always, it's just throughout whatever tailgate you're going to, whatever bar you're going to today, you see what headgear Corso put on.
Yeah.
Lisa and I went to College Game Day in Norman when they played Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And that's probably 10 years ago now. They had the two games here.
2011 or 12.
They had the two. I think Landry was quarterback. They beat us badly here, and we beat them badly.
The following year, yeah.
Yeah, we came, and I went to both games. And so you're doing it here, and Joe Cimino this is his second go at it.
Yeah.
And we had a discussion earlier, a very candid discussion. He's like, well, I thought this and that. And I said, if you thought that, then people clicked. Okay? And that's his first one, and you're going to be bad at your first one. You're going to be bad at your second one. You're going to be bad at your third one. But you're going to be less bad, and you're going to be less bad, and then you're going to get your shtick down, and you're going to figure out what you want to be, and you're going to get better every time you do it. And then if this is what you want to do for a career, then you're going to get your shtick, and you're going to do it. And so he has to figure out, Joe, and we're speaking like he's not here and he's looking right at us. Joe has to figure out if he's going to be a quarterback. Is he going to be a former quarterback?
Right.
Is he going to be the guy that's bringing in other talent and being the general, you know what I'm saying, and the field director? And that will come. And you're going to figure it out one day, and then you're going to go, this is what feels right for me. And then people are going to come in and go, because I don't, sometimes like you watch, I don't even watch sports very much anymore. But when you do, you bring these, you bring these guys in, like on the NBA, or you bring guys in that do color commentary just because they're a big name, and they really don't know how to break the game down. You know what I'm saying? So you have to figure out what you want to be, and people are going to get it, and they're going to know that you're authentic. And I think what you guys are doing is awesome. I think replicating College Game Day for the high school kids and making them the part of everything and be the main thing is awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I mean, we're kind of learning as we go too. I mean, it's not just I'll say too. I thought Joe sounded great last week. As far as you would,
did he put on a headgear?
No, he didn't. And and honestly too, like because people were kind of talking about that.
I don't want
to mock College Game Day. I don't want to mock it. I want to. I want to replicate
it. Mocking it.
I want to replicate. Well, nobody on Big Noon Kickoff puts on headgear. The Fox alternative to it.
Oh, that's good.
It's College Game Day thing,
but
right?
Yeah, but I like Big Noon. I like because I'm a Big Ten guy, so it started out Big Ten.
Yeah,
and so I mean, I think that they do a great job. I think Leinart and Bush and all those guys. I know Bush is gone, but
what's crazy about that panel is it's the same panel as the 2005 Bush Push game, Notre Dame USC. You have Reggie Bush, Brady Quinn, and Matt Leinart all on that same panel.
And now Portnoy's on there too, right?
And Portnoy's on there too, yeah. So
that'll make it more fun.
But we didn't want to mock it. And like I said, I thought Joe sounded great for it being his first time. We're all learning as we go. It is a pretty cool thing, though.
Peter, tell people who you are and what you do.
I'm Peter Krakowski. I'm the Chief Content Officer at the Jet TV Sports Network. You see me out at games quite a bit, too. Haven't been able to get out to many this year, but I will be at Griffith tonight, and I'll be on the panel tonight. We're one man down, so I'm going to fill in. And
that's the game of the
next
week.
Man up, baby.
It's game of the week. It's Lowell Griffith. Rivalry renewed. These two teams, they faced off once a year at least, not counting postseason, since 1937. And then they stopped the rivalry for a couple seasons a couple years ago, and now we're renewing it after 1,092 days tonight. I know that because Brian Jennings made the scene setter or narrated the scene setter video that I just published. So, it should be a cool atmosphere. Obviously, two of the blue-collar communities going at it between Lowell and Griffith. And for a game day touch, again, while there's no headgear involved, we do have a guest picker every week. Tonight it's Scott Bridges.
Scott's that's awesome.
Yeah.
Guest
that's
picker.
very cool.
Yeah.
And so so many different games going on and things are moving so quickly here. I think I ran into you guys the other day and I was telling you this. It was a big deal when we did 2 games. I remember that. And I've been, and
how many games are you doing tonight, Peter?
6 tonight, which is actually the fewest we've done so far this season.
You want to run through them real quick?
Yeah, so Hanover at Highland. Hanover's a little down this year. This game could be closer than people think, especially if the quarterback Slavin plays. He went down in the second half of that Griffith game with an injury, but rumor is he might be back tonight. Munster at Hobart. Munster's improved, but they haven't shown it in the win column yet. Hobart, they've improved as well from last year. Hobart, them and Andrean's going to be a good game in a couple weeks.
Hobart's going to put a schmacking on the Mustangs.
It could go that way, yeah. But Munster, they've been hanging around in the first half for a little bit, which again, that's a huge improvement.
Just means they're not deep enough, but they are competitive. Whereas the last years they were not.
Right. Gary Westside, Hammond Central. We'll have that game. We talked about Lowell and Griffith. That's obviously the game of the week. Shepherd, who's a team from Illinois, they're coming across the border to take on Morton, and then we'll have KV and Andrean as well.
Awesome. So, Peter, thank you very much. And you see all these people out here. We want to let them get time to come in here.
And don't forget, if you want to watch those games, you can stop in Doc's Smokehouse, 1420 Calumet Avenue, and we will put whatever game you want. If you want to watch the Munster game and not make the drive over to Hobart, come in and we'll have it on for you.
Absolutely. And if you can't make it out, you can also go onto our Facebook and check out the Doc's Smokehouse scoreboard and see all the scores right there.
And,
there we go.
And we're honored at Kusiak Construction to help with the BBB. We're honored to help with Veterans Use. You see all these guys out here and gals. They're going to come in and do a great show. So what we're going to do is I want to make sure you guys know that we are you're a capitalist, I'm a capitalist. If you're looking at doing a project, we are the leaders in Northwest Indiana. One of the smiling faces come out. Anything from the foundation up, if you're looking at doing a home improvement, we have a Labor Day special going on. We are coming out to get your job. We're going to give you a great price, quality craftsmanship at competitive prices. Anything from roofing, fascia, soffit siding, replacement windows, front decks, back decks, front porches, anything in your house. Please give us a call. Your money stays local. And Peter, if anyone wants to get a board on you guys, who do they need to call?
They can contact me, Peter at jedtv.com. You can call the station too. Not 845-1100, but 844-1230, the station line. Otherwise, like I said, Peter at jedtv.com, and I'll put you in contact with the right people.
Good luck with what you got going on. Joe Cimino, you're going to do a better job this time and a better job next time.
Not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast, my friend, as he's the guy. And so this is what happens on Friday. We actually get it churned up a little bit. So I'm back, and we'll see how long that goes, as long as I don't get thrown out. But you're listening to Dave Kusiak Show. Brent, thank you very much. You are here anytime you want to be. Peter, thank you very much for jumping in what you do.
War
here.
Eagle.
Joe,
Boomer Sooner.
thank you do. Boomer
Beat
Sooner. Don't forget Empanada Fest
Go
tomorrow. We're going tomorrow, Empanada Fest. Then we're going to go sit down in front of a big screen, have some wingdings, and watch the Sooners get that backside, if you know what I'm talking about, baby. Boomer Sooner. We'll see you next week, because if it's Friday, it's the Dave Kusiak Show on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM from the beautiful Strachan Van Til Food Market Studios here at my alma mater, Purdue Northwest.
Love me down, right down to the floor.